And then February 18th, 2021,
Right.
Prince Markie Dee ends up dying at age 52, one day before his 53rd birthday.
Yeah.
Were you guys still close?
We were close, but me and Mark, like I tell anybody, me and Mark had this kind of relationship. I would call Mark, we would talk, and then we wouldn't call each other again for like a month and pick up the conversation where it left off. Yeah, so anyway, that's the kind of relationship we had. And the thing is, me and Mark never hung out like that off tour. It was always Buff. We'd be on a 3 to 4 month tour, and we'd be in the limousine coming back from the airport. And I'm like, listen, I don't want to see you for maybe 2 weeks. Seeing you every day, every day. Within an hour, Buff is at my house. Yo, G, let's go hang out. I'm like, dude, I didn't see Mark until we went back out on tour, had to do things. So that's the relationship me and Mark had, but we were really close. The last thing I asked Mark was, does he want to do a song? Just put it out. And he said, why would we put a song out? I said, I was really just seeing where his head was at. And I gave him an idea about the song. He said he liked it. He said, yo, I like that. And I said, well, let's think about it, see if we want to do it or not. And I seen him on on IG Live, Instagram Live a couple of times, and always took little digs at him, made little jokes at him. But then I left my phone at work, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what was going on. And so when I get back to work the next morning, somebody picked up my phone by mistake, one of the coworkers or whatever, and I plug in the phone, and all these text messages. I mean, there's my phone was beeping like it was no tomorrow, like a vibrator was going off through the whole phone. And I read one text message because, like I said, I had no idea what just happened. And somebody said, "Yo, I'm sorry to hear about Markie Dee, man." I'm like, sorry to hear about that. So I go to the next text message. Yo, Rob, Mark passed away. So I'm not even thinking Mark, my boy. It's not registering. So I'm going through these different text messages, my condolences. Oh man, I feel so bad for you. I'm like, what the? So then, for some odd reason, I thought maybe if I see this on TMZ, maybe it solidifies it. And I saw it on TMZ. I was like, oh shit. And yeah, it just tore me apart. It not only tore me apart, it just put me in the frame of mind. The first thing I seen was his face, like his young face, like that little wicked smile he had. And I started thinking about us just playing football on the block, us just chasing each other all day on the block. And I was, it caught me off guard. And I went into one of the other rooms, and I just broke down because it's like it just, I'm like, how can it all end like this? So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently he had heart issues leading up to that situation. I guess he needed a heart procedure leading up
Right.
to his death.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, nobody wants to bury their child before them. No parent wants that. So I talked to his mother, and she sounded like she was just rambling on about a big story about nothing. But I understood that she didn't really want to talk about his passing, And so I was on the phone with her, and I listened to the story. Must have lasted like 20 minutes, and it was a story about nothing. But I understood what she was doing. She was just trying to keep her mind off what was going on, and it's unfortunate because I was talking to his ex-girlfriend Shelly, and he loved Shelly a lot. Shelly was his heart. After him and Pepper broke up, and Shelly was his heart. So she was telling me that he was telling her that he loved her so much, and all this stuff, and leading up to his untimely death, how much he was telling her he loved her and said he was sorry. And so, Mark's going to be sorely missed because a lot of people loved Mark. A lot of people loved him. He had that way about him. He could walk into a room and make everybody feel uncomfortable, feel comfortable. And he wasn't about the BS and putting up this whole front and whatever. Um, my thing with Mark is Mark was one of the funniest people. Me and Mark had so many inside jokes. What happened with us is that what went on with us was that we used to go overseas, and we hated going overseas. So we'd be there like 2 months at a time. So to entertain ourselves, me and Mark would just stay up in each other's room till like 3, 4 in the morning and make up all these characters, these crazy characters, and make jokes out of them. And so we did all kind of jokes about a guy named Mr. Potts, who was a zillionaire, who was funding us money and all this kind of crazy stuff. So a lot of stuff that I've missed. That's the stuff I missed about Mark. It was like the conversations we had, the time he came to me about his breakup with Pepper, how distraught he was. And I made him, he was drinking the Coca-Cola at that time, and I made him laugh, and all this soda went through his nose and his mouth because I made a joke while he was serious about his breakup. So, him and Buff going back and forth all the time and just arguing about nothing. These guys had some of the biggest arguments about nothing. I'm like, what are y'all arguing about? Oh man, he said this. I'm like, you know what, whatever. So Mark was just a funny kid, man. He was a funny dude.